8:13 a.m, the hit piece drops. A camera crouches by the door. Donors demand a sacrifice. Third graders are already walking in. Sabrina meets Darius's eyes. Stay but my way as the handle starts to turn. Before we dive in, make sure to hit subscribe, tap like and share this video. The more voices we reach, the louder these stories become. And drop your city in the comments. Let's see where love finds us. She had a rule that sounded like a dare. She didn't date Playboys. Sabrina Knox wrote it on a sticky note months ago after leaving a man who loved the chase more than he loved her. Thick, curvy, and unapologetically sexy, she had learned to stop shrinking for anyone. She ran sponsorships for an arts education non-profit and measured victory in paid teaching hours, not selfies. The gala at the Halcyon Hotel was both victory lap and trial. 200 donors, live auction, an intern hiding in the coat room. Her board chair insisted she invite Darius Cole, a too-handsome logistics founder whose reputation arrived before he did. The internet called him charming. It also called him things people say when they don't know someone but enjoy saying his name. When he walked in, staff straightened as if gravity shifted. Midnight suit, easy shoulders, a thank you for the valet that sounded like habit. A crack slid through Sabrina's certainty. Playboys rarely remembered the people who carried their evenings. Sabrina Knox, he said, voice velvet measured in inches. Honoured to be here. Your note about the scholarships, couldn't ignore that. We sent 3, she said, aiming for dry, landing near Breathless. He laughed like he'd surprised himself. I'm grateful for persistence. He met her eyes and didn't inventory her body. She handed him a program and retreated to the run of show taped beneath her clipboard. Logistics she could trust. An hour in, the room broke into small storms. Soundboard hiccup, champagne crash, 2 donors debating a painting loud enough to make the bassist wince. Sabrina kept saying, I've got it, until her chest stopped believing. In the service corridor, her vision jeweled into dots. Panic's old script tried to climb on stage. Hey, someone said gently, may I stand with you? She didn't need to look to know. Darius took up space without crowding it. He stood to her side, hands visible. Take my count, he asked. In for 4, out for 6, I'll do it with you. He breathed first. She followed, embarrassed, then grateful. The floor steadied. The chandelier became a chandelier again. Thanks, she said, tapping the clipboard to her ribs. Stress likes theatre. Shows don't scare me, he said. People pretending they're fine does. There was a tiredness at his eyes that didn't match the profiles she'd skimmed. He nodded toward a bulletin board. Rules, knife safety flyer, a photo of a baby with cake. We can name things until your brain takes the wheel. Knife, cake baby, exit. She laughed, breath loosening. Cake baby might be my new therapist. Charges by the crumb, he said. They stood there another minute, not touching, while the party re-glossed. Back inside, Sabrina could hold it again. During the auction, Darius bid like a good drummer keeps time, quietly making everyone else sound better. He closed gaps, didn't grandstand, let a woman across the room win when she wanted it. When the scholarship total stalled at 95, he lifted his paddle and made it 100 as if levelling a table. Phones hunted for spectacle and caught a hinge. Later, after volunteers boxed centerpieces, Sabrina found him on the terrace. The river threw back a ribbon of light. You were good in there, she said. You were better, he answered. You run a storm like it owes you money. She grinned despite herself. And you don't seem to need headlines to eat. I don't, he said, but I'm also not a story you should trust on arrival. Is that a warning? A disclosure. People write versions of me they can consume. I help them sometimes by being careless, trying to do different. He didn't drift closer. He left space. Her reflex reached for the sticky note in her mind. Do not date Playboys, and prepared to raise it. But there was the way he counted with her. The way the valet's face warmed when Darius used his name. The way he bid not as spectacle but as hinge. What does different look like? She asked. Listening more than talking. Showing up where I said I'd be. Saying no to the easy yes. And if I ask someone to pie, being okay when she says no. To pie? There's a diner on 5th with bad coffee and perfect pie, he said. The Neon E retires every hour. We could split a slice and judge kindly. I don't date Playboys, she said, testing the steel. I'm not asking you to, he replied. I'm asking for a chance to show I'm not. A busser laughed behind them. A door let out cologne. Life made its ordinary noises. Sabrina felt the story fork in the plainest way. Keep the armor or risk small. No vows, no declarations, just pie. Sunday? She said. 2. Daylight. Witnesses. Sunday, he said, exactly like he'd accept Monday. Text me only if you want. He didn't ask for her phone. She offered it, typed Darius. No crowns, no winks. A period, like a person who knows where a sentence stops. Good night, Sabrina. Good night. She watched him go, heart not sprinting but pacing itself, as if it knew something her rules did not. Inside, a donor cornered her with a story about a niece and finger paints. Sabrina scheduled a follow-up, but a corner of her attention kept touching the new name on her screen like a bruise that didn't hurt. At home, she peeled the sticky note off her mirror. She didn't throw it away. She set it low, beside the toothpaste, where it could be a question instead of a command. Don't date Playboys. What if he isn't? Her phone chimed. Sunday is perfect. I'll be early so you don't have to walk in first. If you change your mind, no questions. Darius. She stared at the words until they became weight. Early, so she wouldn't walk in first. No demand tucked inside the courtesy. A gate unlatching without a hand on her back. She plugged in her phone. She left the note where it could keep asking what if, and she slept as if someone had counted with her again, slow and steady, in for 4, out for 6. Don't forget to subscribe for more intense cinematic love stories. Your click helps us make the next chapter. Sunday, the neon E in the diner window was already doing its hourly flicker when Sabrina arrived. Darius was there early, like he said, booth by the door so she wouldn't have to walk past a crowd, jacket folded beside him, 2 forks set but only 1 plate. Apple or pecan? He asked, standing just enough to honour the moment without making it grand. Apple, she said, surprising herself. Warm if they can. They can. He smiled at the server like they had a standing pact. When the pie came, steam lifted and he didn't launch questions. He let quiet say hello first. You work weekdays with donors, he said eventually. Sundays are for you? They were, she said. Lately they're for catching up on laundry and deleting emails I'll never answer. Then I'll keep this short and restful. He nudged the plate closer. Tell me one thing you want more of that isn't work. She meant to say sleep. She said, a houseplant I don't kill. Start with pothos, he said, dead serious. They forgive you. They shared the pie without drama. He didn't try to perform charm, he practiced attention. When a family with twin toddlers came in, Sabrina's breath snagged at the sudden noise the way it sometimes did. Darius glanced at her, then at the sugar caddy and said, name 3 blue things. She blinked, found the sugar packet stripe, the neon open, the rim of a toddler's sneaker. In for 4, out for 6. The room softened into a place again. Thank you, she murmured. Thank you for telling me the truth with your face. He paid and walked her to the curb but didn't reach for her hand. Can I see you this week? He asked. No pressure. Give me a lane and I'll stay in it. Wednesday, she heard herself say. We're setting up for a school workshop. You'll hate it. Unlikely, he said. Text me your list. I'll bring what's not on it. On Wednesday at 6:30 a.m, the gym smelled like dust and old pep rallies. Sabrina wore leggings and a giant sweatshirt, hair up, cheeks pink from lifting crates. You're early, she said when Darius slipped through the side door with rolling tubs. You said 8, he said. Arriving at 6 is my terrible hobby. He had mismatch magic. Contractor gloves in his back pocket, a thermos that steamed ginger, tape measure clipped at his belt, and bright blue painter's tape in his teeth until he realized, embarrassed, and handed it to her. You brought gaffer tape. She couldn't help it. She laughed. No one ever brings gaffer tape. Gaffer tape is love, he said. Also these. He lifted out a set of wide, low stools. You said a few of your kids don't do well at tall tables. He had read her text and then read between its lines. They laid out stations, paper marbling, cardboard cameras, a tiny stop-motion corner. He never took over. When volunteers arrived with more opinions than hands, he said, point me, and meant it. When a stand wobbled, he levelled it with a sugar packet and then cut a shim. When a donor arrived to observe and started lecturing a boy named Jameer about handling scissors, Darius crouched to Jameer's level. Mind if I try? He asked the boy. He opened his hands where Jameer could see them. I mess this up all the time. Maybe we figure it out together. The donor eased back, disarmed not by authority, but by the absence of it. Sabrina watched the room recalibrate around the way Darius held it. Gentle, exact, patient. The sticky note on her mirror felt less like a stop sign and more like a yield. Kids poured in at 9. The gym unstiffened into laughter and chaos. Sabrina moved like a conductor who cared more about the orchestra than the applause. When paint splashed her sleeve, Darius was simply there with a damp cloth and a smile that said, "No big deal." When the mic squealed, he found the loose cable and fixed it. When a volunteer panicked about a missing box cutter, he held up his hands and had everyone count together while he checked the floor. No alarms, no shame, just the steadying math of attention. During a break, Sabrina felt her phone vibrate. A notification from a gossip account slid across the screen. Darius Cole leaving a rooftop lounge with Model S. Sabrina went cold. The photo timestamp last month. Didn't care about context. Her ribs cinched. He noticed the change before she said a word. "Want air?" he asked low. She nodded. In the hallway, she showed him the screen. No accusation in her voice, just quiet dread. "I don't know what to do with this." "Thank you for showing me instead of swallowing it," he said. He didn't reach for her phone. He reached for his. "This is Simone. She runs brand partnerships for a community studio. We met on that roof because a donor refused to walk into the same lobby as the kids. We took the meeting upstairs. I should have anticipated the camera, and I'm sorry you have to carry the fallout." He scrolled and handed her his phone. There it was, a thread about grant structure, studio rent, a calendar invite titled "Access Evenings, Not Just Tours." His chest rose on a slow count. "I can't manage what strangers post," he said. "I can manage what I do. If you ever want to speak to the studio director, her number's at the top." Sabrina rayed, relief calling itself by a smaller name. Evidence. Still, the sticky note in her head tried to bark. "And before you were doing different," she asked carefully, "did you date a lot?" "I dated in the way that looks like generosity and is actually avoidance," he said without flinching. "Short, charming, never with the person I might have to tell the whole truth. It made people feel replaceable. If I ever made you feel that way, even for a second, I want to know." "You didn't," she said. She realized she meant it. You keep staying." "That's the plan." He touched the wall near her shoulder, not her. "Do you want me to make a public statement? It might make it worse." "I don't need the internet to know," she said. "I need me to know." "Good," he said. "Then I'll go back in there and put labels on the scissors so Jameer finds them again, and I'll be here at cleanup and next week if you want, and the week after if we're still a we." Her laugh came out wobbly. "Who said we're a we?" "No one," he said, grinning. "Hoping out loud is my other terrible hobby." Back in the gym, the work swallowed them in the best way. When Jameer finished his cardboard camera, he insisted on a photo with Darius, who ducked, making his body smaller to fit the boy's pride bigger. When a girl named Lila asked if grown-ups ever get scared of scissors, Darius said, "All the time," and showed her the tiny crescent scar on his thumb. At noon, Sabrina's board chair swept in like weather. "You didn't tell me Mr. Cole was here," she whispered, lips tightened. "Optics, Sabrina. Our conservative donors will have opinions." "They always do," Sabrina said. The old heat climbed her neck, but she stayed standing. "He's volunteering. He's good with the kids. I don't choose volunteers for optics." After the workshop, when the floor was a confetti of tape and paper, Darius found a push broom and moved quietly across the gym like it was a chapel. Sabrina went to thank him and found a volunteer at his elbow saying, "Let's grab a pic for the newsletter." "Let's not," he said warmly. "Make it about the kids. Put Jameer's camera front and center." "You're maddening," the volunteer joked. "I am," he said, and meant all the parts of himself. In the parking lot, clouds stacked violet. Sabrina's body remembered being wanted only when a night needed a pretty ending. It didn't know what to do with being partnered in the unglamorous middle. Darius loaded the last bin into her trunk and stepped back, hands loose. "Can I take you to dinner?" he asked. "Nothing roof-like. Somewhere with terrible lighting and honest food." "I have reports tonight," she said, hating how adulthood always did this. "And I promised my sister I'd call." "Good," he said. "Keep your promises. Eat something hot. I'll text you an ugly photo of the gash I got from the broom if you need motivation." "Please don't," she said, smiling. "Text me something regular." He thought for a second. "Okay, I'll text you that I got home, and what I cooked, and one thing that was hard that I didn't fix." "Why that last one?" "Because I want you to know the shape of my day, not just the glossy parts." The wind lifted her sweatshirt. The November light wasn't kind, and she didn't care. He made looking ordinary feel like being seen. She reached out, then stopped, then said an "I," and gestured to his hand. He lifted it, palm up, waiting. She laid her fingertips in his. Warm, real. The skin spoke a language she thought she forgot. When she pulled away, he didn't chase the touch. He let it end. That night, the text came like he promised. Home. Made rice and eggs with the fancy vinegar you mocked me for buying. Hard thing I didn't fix. My impatience when the pan took too long to heat. Tomorrow I'll try letting things warm at their own pace. Sabrina read it 3 times and then called her sister, who listened to the whole day and said, "He sounds like the opposite of every boy who made you smaller." "He makes rooms larger," Sabrina said softly. "Even mine." On Thursday, her director forwarded an email from a reporter, story going live Monday about philanthropy's Playboys, your program mentioned. Sabrina's stomach flipped. She looked at the clock, late, and at the sticky note on her bathroom counter, curled at the corner, as if it wanted to say something gentler than no. She typed, "Got a heads up about a Monday article. It might get messy. I can pause us if that protects the kids." His reply came with no heroic pause. "If pausing protects them, we pause. I'll still show up to hall tables, with or without a we. I'm not here for headlines. I'm here for you and them." Her phone buzzed again, a second message. "If you want me at your side when the piece drops, say the word. If you want me invisible until it blows over, I'll be wind. Either way, I'll be early." Sabrina set the phone down and, for the first time in a long time, let herself cry without apologizing to the air. Not because she was hurt, but because someone had given her a choice and meant it. On Monday at 8:11 a.m., a black SUV idled across the street from the community centre. A photographer leaned on its hood, camera already up. Sabrina breathed in for 4, out for 6, and walked toward the door, toward the day, toward whatever the article would name her. Halfway there, she saw Darius waiting by the service entrance, hands open, jacket folded, a roll of gaffer tape in his pocket like a promise. The article went live at 8:13 a.m. with a headline that tasted like battery acid. A reporter who'd never set foot in their gym wrote about philanthropy's Playboys, and Darius got top billing. There was the rooftop photo with Simone, the caption all shrug and insinuation. There was a sentence that burrowed under Sabrina's ribs. "He collects causes like cocktail napkins." Sabrina stood inside the community centre's lobby with the printout the board chair had dropped like a summons. Through the glass, she could see the black SUV idling, the photographer adjusting his lens as if truth were something you could zoom into. Inside, the building smelled like floor cleaner and crayons. A third-grade class was due in 20 minutes. Her phone chimed. Service entrance. "I'm here if you want me. I can also leave, and I will not take it personally." D. She looked up. Through the narrow window by the loading bay, Darius stood with his jacket folded over his arm, hands open. No swagger, no performance. Just him, early, exactly where he said he'd be. She walked down the hall with the article folded in her palm like a blade she refused to hold by the edge. He didn't move toward her until her eyes met his. "Say the word," he said softly. "Wind or wall." "Stay," she said, hearing her own voice decide. "But we'll do it my way. Your way is why I'm here." He lifted a small paper bag. Ginger tea. Not a headline in sight. They sat quietly. He took the far corners, gaffer tape in his pocket like a talisman. When a volunteer asked for a photo to show we're undeterred, Sabrina said, "We show the kids, not ourselves." Darius nodded as if she'd quoted scripture. At 9 a.m., the kids arrived in a bright flood of noise. A boy skidded to a stop in front of Darius. "You're the guy from the internet," he blurted, already half ashamed. "I am a guy on the internet," Darius said, crouching to the boy's level. "I am also a guy who can fix a wobbly table in under a minute. Which do you need today?" "The table wobbles," the boy said. The room exhaled. Sabrina watched 100 small choices, Darius handing scissors handle first, letting Jameer announce station rules instead of doing it himself, waiting half a beat before stepping in so a kid could succeed without him. Real love looked like this. Competence without theatre, presence without claim. It made her want to put down whatever she'd been lifting alone. Still, the article knocked around her mind like a penny in a dryer. At 10:12, the board chair appeared with urgency arranged into pearls. "We need to talk messaging." she said, pulling Sabrina aside. Our donors are already texting. Some are asking if we're endorsing Mr. Cole's lifestyle. We are endorsing stools that fit shorter legs, Sharpies that haven't dried out, and teachers who can breathe through chaos, Sabrina said, not unkindly. Mr. Cole is moving tables. If donors can't support that, they can call me. This is naive, the chair hissed. Optics matter. They do, Sabrina said. So does how we behave when optics are loud. The chair's mouth tightened. Draft a statement, something like we distance ourselves from. No, Sabrina said. She surprised herself with the calm in it. We don't distance ourselves from volunteers who show up and do the work. We don't outsource our judgment to gossip. If a donor needs a public sacrifice to feel safe, they can find another non-profit to perform it. She felt the click in her chest, the same one from the terrace when she'd decided to risk small. She had always been professional enough to be palatable. Now she chose to be principled enough to be inconvenient. Your job is at stake, the chair warned. My job is these kids, Sabrina said. Let me do it. The chair left, trailing the scent of expensive panic. Sabrina pressed her spine to the wall and breathed with the mural, in for 4, out for 6. The edges softened. When she returned to the gym, Darius glanced at her face the way a lifeguard watches the surface of a pool. Blue things? He asked. She found them, the painter's tape, a child's sneaker, the tiny ring in a volunteer's nose. Blue, 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 she said, and the world came back into colour. At lunch, the kids spilled out to the courtyard with paper boats. Sabrina set down a tray of sandwiches in the staff room and found Darius washing paint bowls like holy vessels. The chair asked me to distance us, she said. I figured, he said, not looking for his own reflection in it. You okay? I said no. The words tasted clean. If we'll lose money for choosing people over optics, I'll learn to write grants with a flashlight. He turned off the tap and dried his hands. I can make a statement that absorbs the blow, he offered. Say I'm taking a step back so the program isn't harmed. It isn't martyrdom, just logistics. Is that what real love looks like to you? She asked, mouth suddenly unsteady. Absorbing blows until you're a wall with no door? He studied her for a long second, then shook his head. It looks like telling the truth and letting people keep their freedom. It looks like not controlling their stories or their PR. It looks like asking what you need and believing you when you answer. What if what I need keeps changing? Then I keep listening, he said. And when I mess it up, I say so. I am not trying to be a hero, Sabrina. I'm trying to be ordinary and durable. She felt the corner of the sticky note in her mind curl and ease. Someone wrote that you collect causes like cocktail napkins, she said. It made me furious. I did collect things, he admitted. Moments that made me look good. Projects that didn't ask me to stay after the ribbon cutting. It's why I'm here with a broom. Not to atone by sweeping, but because sweeping is part of staying. She laughed then and also cried, some unglamorous combination that made both of them grin like children trying not to. He didn't reach for her. He stood close enough to be counted on and far enough to be chosen. At 3 the photographer found his courage and shouldered through the front doors during dismissal. Darius! Couple questions, he called, as if questions were things you could throw. Kids turned, and the air thinned. Sabrina moved before anyone else. She stepped between the camera and the children, open palms, voice clear. Not today. Not here. You can email our press inbox, and we'll ignore you with dignity. The photographer sneered. So you're protecting your Playboy? I'm protecting 8-year-olds from being background to a story they didn't write, she said. You can take my picture. I'm the one in charge. Darius appeared at her shoulder, not in front of her. He didn't square up to the man. He squared up to the moment, hands visible, breath steady. Let's go outside, he said quietly, to Sabrina, to the situation, to the fear. They walked the man out together, not physically, just with the gravity of people who know what their building is for. The door clicked behind them with a small, satisfying sound that felt like a boundary held. By 4, the kids had gone. The floor was a mosaic of glitter only God could remove, and the light through the high windows had that late-day gold that forgives everything. Sabrina and Darius sat on the low stools he'd brought, 2 giants in a kingdom sized for 3rd graders. I don't date Playboys, she said, as if reading an old proverb aloud to see if it still made sense. I believe you, he said. I don't want to be one. What do you want to be? A man you can schedule around, he said. The guy who knows where the gaffer tape is. The call you make when a story breaks and you need someone to count you through the piece without telling you what to do. She let the image land. A life that was not fireworks but warm lamps. Not big gestures but reliable ones. Not hunger, not cliffhangers. Bread and soup, ordinary and enough. My sister says you make rooms larger, she murmured. Your sister is trouble, he said, but she's not wrong. She reached out, not the hesitating touch from the parking lot, but a choice that had learned its own name. May I? She asked, palm up. You may, he said, and placed his hand in hers, not heavy, not light. Just weight and warmth, and the curiosity of someone willing to learn another person's grammar. I can't promise the internet won't keep inventing you, she said. I can promise I'll keep showing you the version I'm building, he said. And I'll keep asking what you need so I don't love you with assumptions. The words slid between them. Love, not as a declaration but as a blueprint. She didn't flinch. Tonight, she said, I'm going to take that sticky note off my counter. I won't throw it away. I'll write under it. I don't date playboys. I date men who show up early with gaffer tape. He laughed, the kind of laugh that loosens floors. I'll frame that for our imaginary kitchen. Is it imaginary? It can be whatever pace you want, he said. I'll let the pan heat. She squeezed his fingers, then let go first to prove she could. Outside, the sky leaned toward evening. The neon E at the diner would be getting ready for its everyday flicker, humble as a heartbeat. She could see it. Them in the worst booth with the best pie, talking about one hard thing they didn't fix and one small thing they did. She could see the ordinary future and found it, the surprise of her life, beautiful. They stood, and he gathered trash bags while she stacked stools. At the door he held it with a low little bow that mocked itself. She stepped through and stopped on the sidewalk where the last warmth of the day cradled her bare forearms. Walk me to the corner, she asked. I've been doing that since the first night, he said. You just noticed. They went together, their steps not matched but companionable. At the corner he didn't kiss her. He didn't leave it hanging either. He looked at her like a person reads a sign they plan to obey. Tomorrow I'll be early, he said. I know, she answered, and did.